Hello everyone, it's Todd with todds-n-ends, and today I thought I would show you how I edit photos using Corel Paintshop Pro Ultimate 2022. I really have been using Corel Paintshop Pro for a long time. I prefer it over Adobe just because of the pricing model of Adobe. I find that when you're not using the software, it's very stressful when you're paying like $100 a month for something and you're not using it. So I like the business model they use with Corel. It's old-fashioned. You buy the software, you keep the software. When you come in, when you open it up, you get an offer to save money usually. Here is a Paintshop Pro upgrade for 50% off. I usually wait until Black Friday to do my upgrades because you get better discounts. And usually I'll look and see what updates they've made. The thing I'm going to show you today is actually one of the things that was new with the last version, which was the GRFX plugin that comes with it. So in the manage view, I'm looking at these thumbnails of the photos in my to be sorted folder that I created where I dropped all my photos out of my Nikon, and I go through and I look for the photos that I want to edit, maybe post or use for something else. I'll select one of them and double click on it. That brings you into this preview mode where you can rate it with a 5-star rating. You can then begin to navigate through the photos in this preview mode by hitting the arrow keys and go through and see the photos that you want to see, how sharp they are, and which ones you might want to edit. These are a lot of the birds behind my house where I get a lot of my photos from. And I'm just scrolling through using the arrow button. And I can go over to the window in the upper left. I can go to a different folder. Let's say I want to navigate into something like the Washington, North Carolina folder. Washington, North Carolina is a coastal town where you can go and take lots of photos like a lot of the coastal towns in North Carolina. They're very picturesque. And this is one that I enjoyed going to visit. And I have a lot of pictures, but there's a slight pause in the action here where I had to get the cat off of me. He was demanding love. I didn't have time because I'm doing this video. So now I'm going to show you how I'm going to edit this photo. I have these northern flicker photos I took in Hopewell, Virginia at the Riverwalk there. We were calling him in using a bird call, and he was just flying back and forth and posing for us. And I'm going to use this as one of my examples here. Let's see if I can find one that I like. I like these pictures here, but let's go back to the one where he's a little better centered. They're all in pretty good focus, pretty good sharp image. It was a gloomy, overcast day, and I thought the camera would struggle being zoomed out at 600 millimeter. But they turned out okay when I got them home and looked at them on the computer here. So let's edit this one. I click on the edit button with it in focus, and that's the image that it's going to open up in edit mode. First thing that I typically do is recompose the photo using crop. So I'll select the 2x3 or 4x6, which is the original proportions. I like to leave everything in the original proportions, grab the corner and drag it down, pretty much obeying the rule of thirds. I'm going to put him on the first third of the photo. I'm going to leave the open space to his right because that's the direction he's facing. If I left more space behind him, it would look weird. This is okay, so I'll say apply. And now we're zoomed in a bit here, and this is the image that I'm going to go to edit. So the first thing I'm going to do is go up to Effects and go down to Plugins, select the Auto Effects software, Graphic Effects Studio, Corel Edition, and click Go, or click Open. It takes you to a completely different user interface. This is the Graphic Effects Studio Corel Edition interface. I'm going to apply an effect. Let's see what we have here. I'm in Photo Effects. These are black and white effects. I don't really want to keep it in black and white. Let's go to Sharpening, Lighten and Sharpen. That's usually a good one to start with. I want to lighten the image a little bit, and I want to sharpen the image. You can click on See Original, and you can go back and forth when you click on that, and it will show you the before, after, before, after. On the right hand side is where the settings are for it. We're at a 60% effect strength, 65% lightened. So we'll leave it there and see about maybe adding some additional effects. How about sharpen details? Let's see if we can really get in and sharpen some of those details. And before, after, I can see that it is a little bit sharper. I like that. That seems to work for me. What other effects do we have? Let's see. Some shading. Under maybe landscape. What do we have? I'm not seeing anything here that I really want to try. So, let's see what afternoon sun does. Oh, that's hideous. So you can go up here and you can take the afternoon sun out by clicking the X button. And we can try a different effect. Maybe green foliage. Alright, green foliage just adds a little bit more green to the photo. See before, after. Not sure I really like the effect that much, so let's get rid of it. What else do we have? Looking through here. There's some light effects that I haven't really tried. Art effects. Well, let's try watercolor. Let's turn our bird into a watercolor. If you've ever wanted to be a watercolor artist, here's your cheating way of doing it. I'm not liking it too much. I would use that more for, I think, landscape images than a actual bird image. Let's see what we have under the brush tools. Maybe a saturation brush. I've never used this before. Let's see what it does. So you're going to paint over and really saturate that area, apparently. Bird looks kind of funny, but let's paint the rest of him and see what it does. It's adding some color. Let's add some color from the branch. It's kind of a strange tool. I haven't used this before. It seems like it's doing something horrible, but maybe we turn it down some. There we go. We can kind of control the amount of saturation to. So you can do before, after. That's not horrible. I don't hate it. It does make the bird a little more colorful on this gloomy day. I'm not sure it's really true to life, but maybe a little bit better than true to life. I don't know. Alright, I'm going to come in and do a save as. I like to leave my original photo number so it makes it easier for me to find later on. And I'll just replace the DSC with what he is. He's a flicker. And I use graphic effects, so it kind of differentiates the photo from what I've done to it. So now he's my Flickr Graphic Effects 0207 photo. What else can I do? Maybe do some fill light and clarity. I use that quite often to fill in some of the details. Clarity really updates the contrast a little too much there. I also think the fill light may be a little too bright, so we'll take it down some. Maybe 27. But show before and after. That's how you show before and after in Paintshop Pro, by doing the preview image and clicking and unclicking. So I'm okay with that. It's a little bit brightened up. And I save it. So now, as I mentioned before, doing watercolors using graphic effects, I would prefer to use a landscape image. So let's take this lighthouse they have there on their boardwalk. It's a really nice lighthouse. And first I'm going to do some local tone mapping. I like to use local tone mapping on things more than people, especially things like trees, sky, water. It really works nice with old wood. It deepens the contrast. So I'm going to do that before I apply the watercolor effect. So I'm going to open up the graphic effects again, go into the interface, And there you go. So there's my local tone mapped image. Let's add an effect. Art effects, watercolor. Apply. Oh look, I'm an artist. I turned it into a watercolor image. The colors on that are a little intense for me, so let's turn down the color intensity some and look at it. I think I like that a little better. Maybe play with the stroke intensity a little bit. Whoa, that's really intense. Let's turn that down some. Okay, turn it back up a little bit. I kind of like that. If I printed that out, it might make a nice watercolor image. Play around with the darken and lighten some. The simplification. See what that does. It just is a matter of details. Turn it down some. And then the strength of the effect. How much watercolory is it? That takes you back more to the original. A little bit more, maybe 75%, 77. Yeah, that's okay. I like it. If you click OK, it will take you back to Paintshop Pro having applied the effect. And if you want to keep that, go to File, Save As. I'm going to call this one the Watercolor 2 because I've already done it before playing around with it. So now I have two different versions of my watercolor image. And that's pretty much Graphic Effects and Corel Paintshop Pro. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.